Hello, this is going to be a chamber guide on Breeze. We're going to do defense first. And I think actually I'm going to start with the tube. So the reason why I'll start with the tube is because most of the time you'll be putting your trap here in solo queue because it's just kind of the default. It stops people from getting up tube like for free into this area for free. However, I do actually really like this version, so you'll be here when the round starts, and you'll just run up and place that there, and it stops them from going to switch for free. This one's really good if you got someone to play around with play around it. So they'll sit in like this sort of off angle, and when someone goes to like shoot it, they can swing at the person. And that's basically it for tube. I mean, I don't really play tube a whole lot. Sometimes I'll slide down. Like I'll play operator or ult here, but very infrequently. So we'll go over to A. I'll sometimes play A. Actually, sorry, I most of the time play A. I very rarely play B. And sometimes I play mid. That's kind of like my spread. So I have multiple sort of things I do on A. The first one is to set up TPs. Not exactly like this. Usually I put this TP here. In fact, we'll keep it there for now. And sometimes I'll sit in this off angle. Like this, not with an off, but usually this is actually a vandal angle for me, where when they'll check bricks, but then they won't expect you to be in this corner, and they won't check this from this angle, so you should be able to get a free kill on someone checking bricks and TP out. You can also just sit flush with the corner if you want to, like this, but bear in mind this is a terrible angle, and you're very likely to die if someone swings you. So I wouldn't personally do that. You can also just like sit out of it like this. You can sit in your TP range. Like this, they won't expect someone to be in this angle. This angle's a very weird angle, so you know, bear in mind that you might get flashed, you might get droned or dogged or something. So I wouldn't be like too concerned with like I wouldn't expect you to get a kill very easily in this spot either, because on A, the off angle, or not the off angles, the small corners like bricks or this could be tend to get like found out pretty fast by the attacking side, as long as they have the tools to do it. So you know, if they don't have flashes, then you can like sit in open angles like this very easily. If they don't have like drone or dog, then you can sit in open angles like this very easily as well, like, or even in these close corners. Just bear that in mind. It's not always gonna happen, but in there's going to be some games where they're not gonna have those things, and you can take advantage of that. But bear in mind, like most of the time, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that. So the other spot I like to sit in, usually when I've got an op, is stairs with my op here, or with an actual op. I'll sit stairs. I also like to sit orange sometimes as well. On top of orange, just like mix it up. Sometimes there's a viper wall here, and you can like just about see over it sometimes. Like some people like running across this wall, you can like see the top of their head, and you can actually shoot them through the wall. Which is a nice thing to have available to you as a chamber. You can also sit up here as well. If you need, bear in mind you do need to TP here before the round starts, to not get the cooldown. I would say this pyramid is actually probably the better pyramid out of the two. The reason being is that this one, you actually open to two different angles that they're likely to swing, and also I think the height elevation can actually make this fight harder sometimes. And that's the same going for the Haven. Haven C Long is very similar to this, where you actually have like so many different heights. And if in Haven it's a lot easier, but in this one it's a lot harder, right? Because someone can peek there, they can peek here, they can peek here. So you've got three angles at such horrible like height elevations to flick to, that I wouldn't recommend like sitting up here. It is a bit better on this one because they can only peek from here or here realistically. Sort of this line, so it's a lot easier to kind of like go down a straight line than it is to go to those three angles that we had. Wait, I'm gonna scope it. There you go. To these three angles, so this one, and then this sort of diagonal one. It's a lot harder to do that than it is to just go down this line, especially because you know most of the time they're going to be quite far up this way, or they're going to be quite close here. There's two angles really, realistically. And also on top of that as well. You're not just you're not like, if people don't really expect you to be on this one, sometimes like, you know, people swing this one. Like, I know for sure I do. I swing this one and then don't don't even check this one. So you know, this one's like kind of like an off angle in that sense. I'll also sometimes play close if you're on like an eco or something. If I've got like a judge, then I might at the start of the round when the barriers drop, I'll place my TP here and I'll just sit with the judge like this. Bear in mind, this works really. This doesn't really work if they've got a drone or something. You may need to get your teammates to shoot a drone. If they have flashes and it's a bit harder, you may have to be looking at the wall at the start of the round, waiting for a flash, like a sky flash or a KO flash, and then you'll have to try and swing and then get a kill on TP out. That's kind of like how it will go most of the time. I'm trying to think if there's any more A spots I use. I don't think there is. Sometimes, very rarely, I'll be on bridge, but that's usually because I've just been sniping in tube. So I usually would be doing something like this, and then they come out A instead, and I have an angle here. Obviously, there could be a Viper wall there, so usually I'm like aiming here, and because this is blocked by a Viper wall, so usually I'm aiming for anyone running out here. And that's pretty much it for A. Aside from sometimes I will peek this, very rarely though, because I don't like the angle that much. I actually always seem to win when I'm attacking. I actually really like this angle. This angle I always seem to win. So in the inverse, you know, if I always seem to win this angle, I'm not going to put myself in this position. So I don't tend to ever peek this. You can if you want to. I personally don't like the angle, but it is an option there for you. Another thing I like to do, so we're going to move on to mid for defense. I like this as well sometimes. Actually, that was old traps. This is the new trap, or like the new stuff. So I place this at the start of the like in the buy phase, and the reason why I do it like this is because I would sit like this next to the barrier, and then when the spawn barrier drops, I'll go place this trap, and then I'll TP mid with the trap, and then I can watch mid. And bear in mind, I have to play fairly safe because I don't have my TPs up for another 40-ish seconds, or 30-ish seconds. These work better in the old chamber than it used to. I also used to have a second trap to put here as well. That was the glory days of chamber, where I could have a trap in tube and a trap here. It's really good, but no, I don't really have that luxury. Sometimes you'll have someone like a jet sniping there, so you can place this trap. Bear in mind, it's not a great trap. It's good for just defending nest, and that's all it really does. Obviously, it defends this area by sort of proxy, right? But you know, there's a time you're gonna have someone stationed in this area that can easily watch nest. And that's basically it for mid. There's not really much to say about mid. I don't really do too much from mid, from nest. And B's the only, like, B I very rarely play, but I do have angles I'd like to play. So the first one is like this, where you just sit on top of this and play. You can play like an off angle like this, so when someone throws the wide swing in the window, you can get a free con. They probably don't expect this once they see this angle not being used, like this angle. Then they'll probably just be fairly relaxed and kind of be watching this angle, this sort of these angles, like from here. Oh, sorry, this angle, because when they're wide peeking the window, that's probably the most likely angle they'll be fighting someone at. So that's probably what they'll be doing. So you can kill someone in an off angle here. You just need to be wary that they can swing this and kill you as well. And it's also more likely that they'll do that in this angle, than in the window angle, I think. But I could be wrong. I only have my own experience to go off, so maybe I'm just unlucky or lucky. You can also sit on top of this, so the buy phase, DP on top. You probably don't want to put your trap out in the open like this. You want to put it like as far away, like as impossible to kill as possible. Because of the new chamber changes, especially. Before it was important anyway. Just to make sure you can TP out, take a shot, TP out. You can also do the same on this one. Although I would not recommend having your operator. I would just do with a vandal or a judge or something. So then you can get a kill TP out. And the other interesting like TP I have, which is one I used to do, but it got really nerfed. So I used to place one here, with the radius of the rendezvous. It used to go through into elbow. But now this one is the best one you can kind of get. You might be able to get like some ones that kind of like clip in around here, but they're so slim in those margins that it might not be the best. You can still use the ones like this, but you know, you don't really have much like leg room to sort of move around and maneuver through. So I'm gonna place one here, and usually with the barriers dropped, I'm gonna be running and I'm gonna be like, no, sorry, not running. I'm gonna be walking and placing that, and then I'm going to be walking through, making sure not to die before I get to my next trip. So this is the scary part, right? You actually saw Ye do something like this with the, I think it was, maybe had the old trips. I don't know if they had the old rendezvous or the new ones. So this is like fairly scary. He may have actually been using one here, like the old one. Just sticking with that. Oh, I can't quite remember. So you have to forgive me. But there's like a space here where you are vulnerable. But that's kind of like how New Chamber kind of plays. Sometimes you do have times where you can be vulnerable if you do stuff like this, and you want to be very careful checking these angles. And then you'll see like you'll get into this angle. I wouldn't actually recommend doing this with a Vandal. I would do this with your ult. Basically exclusively your ult. I wouldn't do it with an op either. I would do it with your ult. Yeah, I did it with an op, I think, but yeah, is yeah. I would just do it with your ult. Because the faster firing in this sort of area you kind of want. And on top of that, you're not really giving anything away if you get caught in the vulnerable position. And then you got like a lot of room to sort of like catch rotations to B or from B, and just like pick off people that want to try and like control the map maybe, and don't expect you to be in such a weird off angle. So yeah, that's basically it for defense. I think there's not really a whole lot to go through with Chamber on Breeze, but I thought it'd be a decent one considering I played a lot of Chamber on Breeze and I still do. So yeah, gonna go on to attack. Okay, so we are on attack. So very common thing you'll see on a lot of good Chamber players, especially the ones like Laz. Right, you'll see him go mid basically every round, and I think this is a really good thing to do. So he usually places his rendezvous here. And here, if I remember correctly, could be wrong on that. At least I know I do, so I'll go off that. And then he usually sits in mid. This is a really good pistol round, so if your teammates are going A, you can like run up mid or walk up mid, and you'll probably catch a rotation. Or you can get a kill in mid. If you get like peeked at the start, so you can get a kill here. I actually do have a clip of me. Remember correctly, I think it was actually might have been a save rate or like a second round buy, but I decided to not buy fully. I decided to just stick with 8 bullets in Headhunter. And I got a kill here, and then place my rendezvous here. My first rendezvous here, then got a kill here. It might actually be it's the first clip of my montage actually. My latest montage. Yeah. You get a lot of space mid. You can also, with some of the board, like the areas of your rendezvous, depending on how you place it, right, you can get some really good angles that they won't expect. So ones like this one, like there's not really much, like people don't think about this angle very much, right, when they think about mid. So you might get a bit unlucky if they peek through nest, but if someone's like rotating through tunnels, then this is a really good angle to just get a kill and you can TP out. And that's pretty much like the main thing you want to be doing a lot in as Chamber. On Breeze, you want to be playing a lot through mid, taking a lot of fights in mid, because this position is like really strong. It controls a lot of the map, and you're an agent that can commit to very little while controlling something. And because all you have to do is TP out, press one button, you're TPing out. So that's the reason why I think he's fairly strong on Breeze mid, especially because he's very open angles and his guns are very good at long range. His Headhunter can one-shot headshot at any range. The sniper is literally, well, it's an operator with way better like stats, I guess, like maiming speed. It gives us AoE slow as well, which can be really good in open spaces, because if they've got a teammate near them, they're not going to get to cover very fast. So if you kill someone here and there's still someone there, they're not going to get to cover potentially because they're slow. You can get another kill. So it's very possible like that. Also, if you want to go with your team on A, actually, we'll go through mid first, or tunnels first. This one's fairly simple. All you have to do is just hold this with whatever gun you're using. You want to walk up, and if you haven't placed a trap, which usually you should, but if you have like a Cypher on your team as well, which can happen sometimes, you can place a trap here, or here or something. But if you want to, you can mainly play to open the door. I would also ask a Viper to either play with you or to throw a lineup here, if they have the lineup, and then open the door. And have pressure from here. You don't want to die from here is the important thing. You want to take it like at one fight, maybe two. One fight is probably the best thing to take, and you got to make sure you win that, because if you win that, then you're in a very good position. You're in a high pressure position where they have to try and get rid of you. But just try and play like very, very safe. Don't try and like take too many fights. Because this position is very easy. Like if you're right here, like look how many angles you're actually visible from. Like there's this angle here, this angle, there's all these angles, all this angle, like backside rail. Like there's so many angles for you to clear, and that it's not worth like this unless your teammates have already executed and are kind of like coming out into backside. It's not really worth like trying to take some risky fights unless like maybe you like I said, your teammates are already taking those fights. Then you can try and swing and help them. So just play defensive once you've got the door open is like a very good way to give pressure out while also not fighting anyone. Obviously getting the kill is like getting a free kill potentially. If someone's like not reacting to you opening the door, is also a really good way to get pressure out because you've got one. And that means like, you know, you've shown like you're in a position that's threatening that their defense, their hold. So you really need to be dealt with by the enemy team, and it really shows like a lot of pressure, really puts them under a lot of pressure to get rid of you. So A is next. Usually I'm going to take the orb a lot in early game on A attack, just to get my first ult fairly fast. That's what I like to do anyway. Sometimes I like I said, some pistols I will go through mid, but a lot of the pistols I do just come and take the orb. Depends on if I have like another person that I know takes the orb. So maybe if you played on defense, they like try and push for orbs and things, or if someone's even communicated they want the orb, then you know I'm not going to play for the orb. But sometimes I will early on in the game, and that means that I'm going to come out A, and usually A is pretty decent for me. You can just place your traps and come out fairly safe, and usually I just sit bricks and watch like these sort of angles when the wall goes down, and just one tap anyone that comes through those angles, and obviously I'm safe because of my TP, so I can TP out anytime. Very rarely do I actually go and take site. Sometimes I do if I for whatever reason don't have, or for whatever reason we've already come out. Sometimes I'll actually place a TP here and a TP like this, like up against like a Viper wall. And sometimes I'll swing the Viper wall, my friendly Viper wall, and try and get a kill on like orange or double doors if I hear like gunshots from like this sort of area spraying through. Sometimes I'll like swing them when they're trying to reload, or when they're like halfway through a spray, because they're very likely to not kill me. And yeah, basically that's it for attacking A. There's not a huge lot. Actually, one more thing is that if you think that it's very, very unsafe for you to go A a lot, what you can do is you can have the bomb. And you can just place your TP, like plant the bomb and then TP out. And that's a very good way to get the bomb there without committing anyone to the site. You'll see Jets do it in competitive sometimes, and you'll see Chambers do it in competitive sometimes. And it's really good on Icebox. It can be really good on Icebox if you don't have a Sage, which is obviously a very ranked thing. If you don't have a Sage, give the Chamber the bomb instead of like him lurking. You can basically be the non-committing sort of bomb planter. Which I kind of like, but obviously that's like there's obviously more uses he can have, so you know it's not really the extent of his uses. He can definitely lurk and things like that, so maybe not every round, but we'll just carry on going B. So in B I very rarely go window unless I have an op and I know that I'm gonna have a good angle, but very rarely I do that. And if I have an op I usually actually come elbow and try and fight in mid. Usually I will be very careful going up here, because like someone can walk up through here and peek me, and then I'll just try and fight mid, any of the two angles. Sometimes if I know they rotate fast, then I'll be holding like this, because if someone wants to go through like rotate fast like this, then I'm gonna get a free kill potentially. I also have my TP set up like normal, make sure like I'm gonna get one kill and get out, or maybe I get 2 kills and get out. I usually don't insert TP. Usually, I'll try and like assess the situation when I get the first kill to see if I want a TP or not. Obviously, sometimes you can't really do that. Sometimes you're already getting shot at, so you do need to just TP out. But if I'm not getting shot at instantly, then by another person, then sometimes I wait a second before TPing, because it means that I might be able to get another kill, and like basically steal the round for my team in some cases. And then the same thing applies for B with the bomb, is that you can just place your TPs. if especially this works really well if you got an off as well sometimes, and you don't have like all your members available. Like maybe your Sage died, then you can just plant and TP out, and then you're in post plant position. It's really good when you're in like a 1v2 as well, and you've like shoot the enemy. They're like thinking it's A, so they're like rotating to A or to B now, and you can sort of TP out and not get caught in these angles. But actually attacking B as well, I do actually come out of B, and I do actually play sort of these types of angles if I have an op sometimes as well. Because, you know, we can win the round before post plant in those cases. Sometimes I'll jump up here if I'm feeling especially confident. I'll jump up on these walls and try and get other fights. Usually I'm not feeling this way, and usually I won't do it because it's a way to throw the round, especially if we've already got a plant down. At this point we probably will. So I don't usually do this, but sometimes you can. That's basically it. For chamber on breeze. Nice want to keep it brief. Just want to keep it nice and brief. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, then give it a like and subscribe for more content like this. So yeah, bye.